So on my YouTube channel, there's a playlist for permanent LED lighting set. I set up something a little more portable and smaller. My wife wanted something that she could put on certain things in the yard or on the front porch that we can light up, but she wanted the same effects like we have on the house. So what I made was this little portable LED controller set that uses, here they are, these little fairy lights. Now this string right here is one string of 50 lights. It's about, I think, 16 and a half feet long, but they are controllable, individual, what do you call them? Addressable LEDs. So we can do the same effect we did on the house on whatever we want to do on the porch with these fairy lights. These are really small. You can see each bulb is very small, but they are individually addressable. In the playlist of the permanent LED lights for the house, I showed you in there one of these. This is a Dig Quad. It's a 4-channel controller, has an ESP32 board on it, with a external antenna for Wi-Fi. Now you can get these in different configurations with a built-in antenna or with RJ45 if you want to wire it. I swapped out the 5 amp fuses with 10 amp fuses. I think they said this thing can handle up to 50 amps. I wouldn't advise going that high, but 30 amps. This is a 30 amp board, and max per fuse is 10 amps. I would leave them at 5 amps, but you can go higher. I wouldn't risk it though. I did 600 bulbs. I think it was 600 or 500. 500 bulbs per channel on the house, and it didn't pull too much. This at 100%, according to the website. I got these on Amazon. Then I had to look up the manufacturer to kind of get an idea on the power. This is 5 volt lights at 5 watts. So that's 1 amp, and that's supposed to be full 100% white. And I'm only going to run them at about 50%. You don't need to run these at 100%. So that's only a half amp for a string. So this controller here, as I can show you, and I'll put links to everything in the comments. This is just a soap dish that you get off Amazon. It's $5 for 2 of them, and they come with this little rubber band to keep it watertight. The board that I have instead of the Dig Quad is what's called the Dig Uno. So this can do 2 channels as 1 input for power, and then 1 output for power, but 2 data channels. So you can run multiple cables, but I'm only going to run 1. Then I drilled a hole for power. This is a 5 volt power. Bought a 5 volt power supply. This one is up to 8 amps, but you can go as low as 5. You really might not even need that. I would recommend running no more than maybe 3 strings on 1 channel for this. It also has a max of 10 amps. And I'm going to show you how I think this board is 10 amps. Let me look real quick to make sure. This one is But it's 5 to 24 volts. And actually it's up to 25 amps. But we're not going to push that much through it anyhow. So I'm going to show you how I built this, put this together, and then I'll show you what it looks like. So put this back together, put the little rubber band on it, and put the lights away. So here's the original soap dish. Comes, like I said, get it on Amazon. That's all it is a travel soap dish. But it has this rubber seal. So when you close it, and then you put this rubber band around it, pretty much makes it waterproof. Now, I wouldn't recommend, these lights are supposed to be water resistant, not waterproof. But obviously the Dig Uno is not. So I wouldn't recommend putting it in any kind of water. You can put it outside, but I wouldn't recommend it not being uncovered or anything like that. It's going to be put all away, but you still have this connector that shows, and you have this connector that shows. So when you buy this power supply, reason why I have the 8 amp, not the 5 amp, is because it comes with this little adapter, which you wire to the Dig Uno. On this side where the fuse is, you have a positive and negative connection for your input power. And then on this, you do positive and negative screwed terminals in there. And you can just find any 18 gauge or 22 gauge wire. I have a spool. I bought this spool off of Amazon. I've actually bought 2 of them, and it lasts a long time. I just pull out a little bit, cut it off, get rid of the white wire so I can have red for power, green for ground. And it works great. That's all you need. You only need about 6 to 8 inches. On the other side, you have your antenna, and it just snaps right onto the antenna connection on the ESP32 board. And then when you buy your lights come with this leader. Let's see if I can disconnect that. Your lights come with this female, or actually this is a male, 3-wire leader. And you can see on the back, you have negative, LED 1, LED 2, and positive. So if I want to do another string, I can do positive and negative, and then the data connector with the data wire, which is in the middle, would go to LED 2. Right now I'm only doing 1. And then I'll have 2 connectors. And then you can actually run 6 cables. And if they're a ½ amp each, you're only running about 3 amps. So you should be okay. You can use a multimeter to test it out to make sure that you're not exceeding any kind of amperage. Like I said, it's 25 amps, and I got a 10 amp fuse in here. You should be okay with just those 300 lights. Now that's good for a Christmas tree, something you want to do on your front porch. You want to do some outdoor lighting. As long as you can put this and all these connectors in like a Ziploc bag and tie it up with the power cable coming out, with the power brick hidden in there. Keep that from getting wet. And then run it to a power source. And you'd be good. So what you need to do is you'll need a drill with a drill bit. And I have a 3/8. That's for this big connector here. And then this bit is, what is this? 15/64. I don't know, that's about maybe a little close to a 1/4 inch. So 1/4 inch, for 1/4 inch should work good, because this is going to be for your antenna connection and to run this cable through. Get this power supply out the way. So I usually do the power connector on this side, and then you have your antenna on one side and your cable for your lights on the other side. Let me disconnect these. Got a little bit of mess on the inside. Take this right here, push it through. Oh, come on, get in there. See, it just barely fits. There you go. Take your antenna, point it away from the connector. Make sure that this little lead is pointing away. You'll know why in a minute. Take the little screw, little nut off, and the washer. Push it through. If it's too tight, come back with your drill. You don't need to worry about it being too loose, because that nut will help tighten it up. Let's try this again. Here we go. So now we got that in there. Put the washer on there. You'll feel one side of the washer has some like sharp edges. That's the edge you want to put towards the case. The way it makes it nice and tight. Screw it on down. Make sure it's still lined up facing back. There we go, a pair of vice grips. Tighten it up. Then you take your other wire. When you go to attach this, let me get the screwdriver out the way. When you go to attach this, the connectors for the lights themselves is under the ESP32 board. So pull out the fuse and then grab the board and kind of just wiggle it back and forth a little bit, and it pops off. Be careful of this little bridge. This has no electrical purpose whatsoever, but it is designed to act as a bridge on this side, so the board has something to sit on. So make sure you keep it in place. So now you have your 4 screws here. So I'm going to unscrew this. So like I said, when you get your dig quad, it's not going to have nothing connected to it. I had all these connected because I was deciding to make sure everything worked okay and how we like to look at it, how we wanted it to operate before I did the video. So pull all the wires out. So you're going to get your dig Uno like this. So now see, I just noticed I had a wire come out. Obviously it wasn't tight enough. There we go. Get this back in place. Okay, now with this inside the box, take this wire, run it through this hole. Oops. This one you don't have to really wallow out the hole. You can just push it straight, push the drill straight through. It's not going to worry about, because we're going to fill all this in with some hot glue to kind of seal everything. So now you have all the screws in here. You go ahead and wire everything up. So if you look at these wires, you'll have one with a red stripe. That's your power. So we got power here. Then unscrew these. Make sure you unscrew these screws as much as possible so that they won't come out, but you'll hear them click that they're unscrewed as far as they can go. So power's over here. Data is in the middle, and you want to make sure that you're connected to LED 1. That's the first channel. And the data cable is the one in the middle. And then last is your ground. Right in there. You want to make sure that the one with the red stripe goes into the lead that has the plus. Then the one in the middle goes into LED 1 or LED 2. The problem is when you bring up WLED, you have to set up 2 channels, and you need to make sure that you're using the right port. If you put it in LED 1, it will be configured already. And then your ground. Okay? Then we need to hook up our power. We need to make sure that power goes to the right one and ground goes to the other one. Don't want to do them backwards. Check, make sure we're good, which we are. All right, so now we got to put our ESP32 board back in, and you can always check to make sure that's right, because the USB-C port, because you can reprogram these if you want to, goes towards the fuse block right here. So you slide that little bridge right in its opening, and then you make sure that your pins are all lined up, which they are, and then go ahead and push it down. Make sure that you have it seated all the way. If you see one end is up, this little bridge thing might be stuck on this block over here, so you kind of might have to shift it around a little bit to get it down all the way. Now we got that together, you can put your fuse in. And then the last thing we want to do is we need to line this up, set it down to where we want it to go, Watch out for the connector. And then you have your antenna connection, which is a pretty short cable. I wish it came with a little longer one, but it's just right. And there we have it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line this cable up. Let me unplug this. And I want to put this around, kind of like this power cable here. I want to kind of put it around and then underneath that block like that, so it's out of the way. Then you can take this antenna and hook it up. Come on now. There we go. So now you have your little output cable here. Got your antenna here. I got your power here. So next thing you want to do is get yourself a hot glue gun, because we need to put everything in place so it'll stay. All right, while I'm waiting for my hot glue gun to heat up, I'll tell you, you can get these boards off of Dr. Z's website, which I'll link to it. And also there's a Chinese website I'll link to too, where you can find them. These are all developed by WLED. If you do a search on WLED, Dig Quad or Dig Uno, you'll find his site that has tons of information. I'll link that in there also. He also has a Discord channel with a lot of information, including a lot of people who have done a whole lot of different things with these, so that you can play around with them, do what you want to do with them. All right, looks like I got some glue. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little glue around. So then I take the board itself, and then on the soap dish itself, you see this little rim here. I just take some hot glue and put right around here, a little around this corner. Push it down in place. Now you can, if you want to, which I'm going to do, I'm going to put a little glue around here to hold this cable down, because it seems to want to bounce around on me. Let it sit for a minute. And that's it. So now you got yourself a little portable board. Take our little antenna. Put this on here, and it snaps over like this. Turn it so it sits upright. I usually have mine mounted like this, so you can turn the antenna up. The reason why I got the external antenna just gives it more range. The built-in antenna seems to be a little shorter range. My router will be where I'm going to put this, about 20 feet, and there's a few walls between there. So I have this antenna on the one for my house that sits about 50 feet from a access point, and it connects just fine. So far, so good. We got everything in place. Now we can go ahead and cover this up. Put the rubber band on it. And that's it. You can use the rubber band to zip tie it to something if you need to. So now, let's hook this up and see how it works. So we have a male connector, and we use the female connector. You can always tell, you always want to make sure you plug the power input side of your string. With the larger strings, like the ones I have on the house, like these, they have a little, there's a little sticker. This set I had cut for another use, but there's a little label there that says input. But you can also, well, I guess you can see that if you look on the bulb itself. You have to look on the little circuit board. You'll see DI, which is data in, for the input. It's on one side of the chip, and whatever wire that is, that's your input. These, on the other hand, they're too small. You can't, there's nothing, you can't find the little data input. The little circuit board in there is so tiny. It might have something written on it, but you probably need a microscope to look at it. So when you buy this string that has the power leads on it is the input. That is so if you want to do more, you can actually do a power injection on another line farther down. If you want to do, 20 of these, you can do 4 strings on one channel, but then you would have to add a 5-volt power injection on the 6th string to go farther down. So we'll go ahead and connect this up. Now we've got it all ready to go. We're going to switch to WLED and show you how this sets up, how this runs. So it's very important to pay attention to a couple things. Let me get something I can point with. First thing is these little switches right here. These are for a resistor. It's either a 33 ohm resistor or 249 ohm resistor, depending on how you have your wiring. If you're doing data separate from positive and ground, then you use the 33 ohm. If you're using 3 wire, like we're using with this here, where all 3 wires are together, then use the 249 ohm. You just throw the switch this way for 249, that way for 33. The other thing is right underneath that switch, it says 2-channel digital LED controller. Then it says LED 1, GPOI 6, LED 2, GPOI 3, I think. Can't see the lights in the way. GPIO 16 for LED 1, GPIO 3 for LED 2. So, I noticed when I first turned this thing on that it was set to GPIO 2. And we need to change that. So, let's go ahead and get that going. All right, so the first thing you want to do is you want to go into your Wi-Fi configuration. These Dig Uno and Dig Quads already come configured with WLED. So you should see WLED-AP access point in your Wi-Fi settings. Go ahead and join it. If it asks for a password, it's WLED1234. And then you should immediately go to the WLED settings. If you don't, bring up your browser and go to 4.3.2.1 as the address, as the IP address. So you'll come up with this welcome to WLED. You go into Wi-Fi settings and you go ahead and set the, if you wanted to join your Wi-Fi network, go ahead and put in your Wi-Fi. I have an IoT network that I use for Internet of Things. So once you get your password in, go to the top and hit save and connect. Come on. So you're still connected to WLED. We don't want to do that. We want to go back to Wi-Fi and connect to the network that you had to join. So once you set it I'm going to go ahead and give mine a static IP. 10.0. This is a home. This is going to be 75. All right, so once we get in, we set our network, and now we're back in. We go into LED preferences. You want to set to 5 volts, which is right here. You know, you can set whatever your efficient. I just leave it at the default. You can use this brightness limiter. What that means is if the max current exceeds the 2 amps that's above, where it says 5 volt 2 amp power supply connected to LEDs, if it gets close to that, it'll start dropping the brightness. I'm only running at 50% brightness anyhow. If I go back to here and back to here, you'll see at the top, the brightness is only at 50%. That's by default. So it comes in like that by default. So go back in here, LED preferences, leave all that alone. Go down here. You got to set your LED outputs to whatever it is. These are WS2812s. It'll show in the description. I think it's green, red, blue, but we'll find out when we turn them on. We want to set this to 50 bulbs because that's how many's on this string. And like I showed you on the board, we want to set this to GPIO 16. So now if I go up and I hit save, these lights should come on, which they have. You can't see them because I'm right now inside the app instead of looking at the lights. So, which I'll show you that in a minute. So now that they're on, I can come in here and I can configure, let's say for instance, I want to go and I want to do red, white, blue. And if you look at the color wheel, if you have this here where it's green, red, blue or red, green, blue, if I set this to red, green, blue, it will be opposite of what it's supposed to be. So if I go in and I say the first bulb is red and I set it to one color and that bulb comes up green, which is actually over here, because now if I move it over there, now I'm showing that the lights are red. It's not, you don't have that set up correctly. So go back into here, LED preferences, and I'm pretty sure these bulbs are green, red, blue. Those are the colors of the LEDs in the bulb. So green, red, blue it is. We'll set this to save, and immediately the lights just change to green, which is what I have it set at. Set it over to blue, they should be blue. Set it up to red, they should be red. So I got these red, white, and blue. I can set it to colors only. I got 3 colors configured, and then I can go into effects and do, let's see, like flow, like I have the house. And now it's flowing like red, green, blue. Let me go ahead and bring that up and show you. And there we go. I don't know if you can see red, green, blue. I'm looking on the camera. It looks like everything's really bright. But they are red, green, blue blinking, and they're only at 50% brightness. So you can see how bright these can be just with 50%. And that cuts the power by half. So now the next thing is you can come in and you can configure other things. Okay, so now we're configured out. We're all set up here. Now you can come up here. What I would do then is I would go into security and updates. You can do this on your phone. This is an iPhone, so I'm not sure about Androids. You can go down to manual OTA upgrade, and it'll show that I'm already on 13.3. And I can go see how it comes up now. It went on the internet to see what the latest version is, 13.3. If you're on an earlier version, just hit the 13.3 and it will go to the website. and find ESP32, which is what this is. You just got to make sure you have the correct board, and then hit the button. I think with an iPhone, what I had to do is you have to hold on to it, bring it up, and then it'll ask you to download. Go ahead and download. Now for an iPhone, it is saving the file in the Files section. So when I go to Choose File, you go to Choose File, and then your File section in your phone will come up. Hit your file, and then click Update. I don't need to do it because I've already updated. Give it a couple minutes to update, and everything will come up. And so then you should have down here where it says About, should show your current version is 13.3. Some other things you can do is like we covered in the video for the house, is you can go back and you can do time and macros, and you can set up a bunch of time controlled presets, and you can come back and go back again, and then you can set up presets here. Let's say I want to do an off preset. I do that so that when I want the lights to turn off, I can just turn them off, make sure everything's off, go to Create Preset, and then I can do lights off. Come down, save it as preset 1. And now I have a lights off preset. Now I use the lights off preset to turn off every day at midnight. So I can come right back here, go to lights and macros, and then right here I can go at 0000 preset 1. Oops, preset 1, and save it. So now every day the lights will shut off at midnight. Save it. There it goes. So if I set up a preset for Halloween, so I go back here, presets, go to colors, or actually go to, I think what I did is an orange effect. Actually, maybe it was the effect. I did what was it? Halloween. And then turn it on. And now I have an orange and purple light effect, and it's blinking. And I can go back to presets. You want to make sure it's on, because you're going to save your preset at the current condition. So it's on. I'm going to create preset. I'm going to call it Halloween. And it's going to be preset 2. And then you have use current state on, include the brightness, and save all the segment bonds and everything, and then hit save preset. So now I have Halloween set. I can do a Christmas or any other one. And I think I have another one called Patriot, and that's red, white, and blue, colors only, effects of flow. That's a red, white, and blue feature. Go to presets, make sure it's on, create this, call it Patriot, save preset 3. So now if I want to do, for this decoration, I want to do Halloween and I want to set it up, I can go to config, go to my time and macros, come down here, create at, we'll say 6 p.m., 1800, whoops, to 2000, let's say 2359. Whoops, forgot. Hour, think that does it military time. I gotta see. We'll see. 1800. Started 1800, preset 2. And I want to start this on every day of the week, October 25th to November 1st. Save it. So now, starting October 25th at 6 o'clock, this light will come on with the Halloween effect. At midnight, every day, it will shut off because I have the offset. At 6 o'clock the 26th, it'll come back on with the Halloween effect, shut off at midnight, 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th, 31st. And then on the first will be, I think the first will be the last day or the 31st will be the last day. One of the two. I haven't really actually watched this take effect yet. I've got set some presets up with some times and dates. So I haven't really run with it yet. I got the house set up to do Halloween. So we'll see what that does. But next is to decorate what my wife wants to decorate. All right. So this is something my wife set up. It's a bird cage with some Halloween decorations in it, and she wants it lit up. So the first thing I got to figure out is where do I want to put my box? I think I'm going to set it up maybe right here because this is the front. I think where she's going to put it, I want to make sure I put it somewhere where it's going to, I want the connector underneath so it stays protected. And I want to be able to put it somewhere where where I'll be able to get access to it. So I got some zip ties, a whole bunch of them. And I'm going to zip tie the lights. First I want to zip tie, like I said, this comes really handy, this rubber band. So I'm going to zip tie the rubber band, not the box, to the cage. Put one here. All right, so there we go. Nip off these ends. That'll hold the box in place. Let's see if I put this under. Come on. Like that. Hold the box in place. So now I need to string the lights. She wants the lights strung up over here and around here. So I'm going to start with a string going around this way. I have one string. Each string is about 16.5 feet. And so I might have to do 2 strings. But like I said, one channel can handle about 350 lights. All right, so I think gonna need one more string. Which I'm gonna have to order from Amazon. All right, here's our finished product. There's where the box is put up. Just a couple zip ties on the little rubber band. And then that's what it looks like. And we can go in and change the theme. If my wife wants to redo this in Christmas, she can just open it up, change what's in the inside, and then we can just change the lights to Christmas or Patriot or patriotic or whatever she wants to do. It can be whatever color. So this is now has 150 lights on it. All nice and pretty. Got the Halloween theme. So let me show you what I had to do because I did have a little issue. So let me go back into the app and show you something. All right, so we're in the app and we have it set up. So one of the issues I was having is when I saved my preset. So when you go to presets and you create your Halloween preset, I saved it. If I go into LED preferences, I saved it with this right here set at, I think I had it set at 50 with the first string. Then I tested the first string and then I turned around and I added another 100 lights, 2 more strings. The problem was every time I went to the preset, so if I go back to the preset, every time I went to the preset, like if I was to go to Patriot and then back to Halloween, it would default back to 50 lights. It is very important that you create and save your preset with whatever you have this segment set to. So by default, WLED sets up one segment 0, and it determines how many lights you have set up. Well, at that time, I saved the preset with segment as 50 lights. Now segment has 150. But the preset kept bringing it back to 50. So you need to make sure that your segment is set at your final amount of lights, whether it's 50 lights, 100 lights, or 150 lights. If you save your preset at 50 lights and then you add 2 more, all you need to do is go back to presets, hit this little caret to bring it down, and then select this overwrite with state and save the change again. But like I said, you need to make sure you're powered on and you're set to whatever effect and light and colors that you want. Right now I'm using Halloween. And it saves it. It will save it with whatever the segment has set. So I was sitting there fighting with this thing for a couple of hours, and I went on Discord and asked a couple questions why I was having this problem. I didn't have this problem before. It may have been with the latest update that it's now doing that. But because right here you have save segment bounds, and that's what does that. If you uncheck that, I don't know if it uses whatever's set by default. So I would, if it works for you, it works. If it doesn't, then to make sure you overwrite after you've set up all your lights. That's it. I'm all done. I like the way it looks. My wife loves it. And because I've got these little boxes And I can do the Dig Unos with those little boxes. I can set up some other things that whatever she wants to do. If she wants to light some other things up, we can do it. So if you have any questions, hit me up in the comment section. If you have any ideas, suggestions, if you see something that, you have a better idea how to do something, if you're familiar with WLED and these systems. Now you can go and buy this whole thing with all of this came to about 70 bucks. The Dig Uno with, and I'll put links in the comment section. The Dig Uno, I think, came to around 40. The lights are 18 bucks for 2 sets of 100 lights. I actually bought 2 of them, but I'm only using 3. I mean, I bought 2 sets of 2. So I had 4, but I'm only using 3. The power supply was around 20, or no, it was around $16. And the little soap dishes were $5 for 2 of them. That was all on Amazon. So altogether, it was about between 70 and 80 bucks. There are cheaper controllers that are around $20 to $30. The problem is they don't handle the amperage that these do. These can go up to 15 amps, I think, for these little Dig Unos. And that's can support quite a bit of lights. Plus, you can do power injection with them, but they're pretty good. And I like the versatility of them, where I can do a lot of things with it. Now, the WLED works with other controllers and other lights. It's all up to you. If you find a cheaper way of doing it, go for it. But like I said, I like this. I like the product that QuinnLED puts out, and it works really good. So hit me up if you have any questions, and subscribe. I'll talk to y'all later.